Chiefs Kingdom, what is up? You're watching the Chiefs Report by Chat Sports, and I'm your host, Jay Sanders. Today's show, we're going to talk about the wide receiver woes the Chiefs have been facing all season and how exactly Brett Veach can fix them because, well, there's a lot of ways that you could kind of go about this, but here's the problem. The trade deadline has already passed, so that takes out one option. Can't trade for a wide receiver. You had the McCole Hardman trade, but that exactly didn't really work out, let's just say thus far. Now, here's the option that you can go with right now. That'd be free agents. There's a couple of guys that I see fit for this Chiefs squad, but do they exactly fit with money? Is Brett Veach willing to pull them in? Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. As coming up on today's show, we're going to talk about 4 free agent wide receivers that could possibly help the Chiefs wide receiver room that has been struggling all year from game 1 and now into game 11. I mean, it's just been a constant struggle all season. Drops in the first game resulted in a loss. Drops on Monday resulted in a loss. And then ultimately the 5 turnovers against the Broncos was just inexcusable. There's your 3 losses right there. That's what separates you from being undefeated at this time. Let's get right into it here with the first target being Jarvis Landry. I'm kind of surprised he hasn't been signed yet. A guy who has been playing with the Browns, played with the Saints in his career, and overall has a veteran-type presence to his name, but for some reason just hasn't been signed to an NFL roster yet. Now, why I think he could fit well with the Kansas City Chiefs is exactly that. He's a veteran-type guy, and the one thing that I'm looking for in these 4 guys is consistency. Because overall, we know that Justin Watson can show great moments at times. We've seen Marquez Valdes-Scantling do things great at times, but they just haven't been consistent. Well, Jarvis has been pretty consistent throughout his career. His last stint with the Saints only played in the 9 games, had 25 receptions, and then the 1 touchdown. But if you go back to 2019 and 2020 where he was more consistently playing every game, it looked pretty good with the average and the touchdowns. He's a guy who can go out there and just catch the ball, which honestly at this point is what you're looking for. We've talked about Jarvis Landry a couple times on the show, but I want to ask this question again because, listen, every single week there's more drop problems and more ways of thinking, okay, how exactly can the Chiefs go back-to-back with this horrible wide receiver core? So, I'm going to ask you it once again, should the Chiefs sign Jarvis Landry? I want you to type Y for yes if you think they should, and type N for no if they can't. I'll give you a second to answer that right now. The second guy that I want to look at here on the Kansas City Chiefs wide receiver targets is Kenny Golladay. Golladay is a little bit different than Jarvis because he wasn't exactly consistent throughout his entire career. With the Lions, yeah, pretty consistent. With the Giants, well, not so much. But the career stats speak for themselves. 226 receptions, almost 4,000 yards. The average jumping off the page at 16.2. And overall, his hands, until he got to the Giants, were pretty good. And that's where I think the problem is. We talked about reliability. He was not exactly reliable with the Giants. Here's the thing, though. The Lions, he was really reliable. In fact, he was one of Matthew Stafford's favorite targets. There's a reason he signed that big contract with the Giants just a couple years ago before falling off the hill. I think it'd be a good option. Ultimately, we'll have to see exactly if the Chiefs decide to do anything. But here's the thing that I can tell you. If the Chiefs can sign a receiver, or if they can't, make sure you're going and supporting the Kansas City Chiefs because, listen, they need your help. And if you're going to a game, make sure you're getting your tickets through Game Time. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for sports, music, comedy, and theater events near you. And Game Time knows that you shouldn't have to worry about buying tickets to your next big event. And they're going to give you the peace of mind when buying tickets with their best price guarantee that takes the guesswork out of buying tickets. Now, there's a lot of things I like about Game Time, and I honestly use it pretty much every week at this point. I love to go see college football games, and with Game Time, it takes 2 seconds to get a ticket. In fact, I have had 5 Fridays this year alone where I've decided, I want to go watch a college football game. Well, what I do, I pull up the Game Time app. They had a zone deal. They had a flash deal sometimes. Boom, boom, boom. I have my tickets in 2 clicks, and with Apple Pay, it's even easier. Plus, we have a special discount code for Chiefs Report watchers as you're going to get $20 off your first purchase if you use the code ChiefsChat. Game Time is obsessed with finding ways to help you save money on tickets. And like I said, with zone deals, you're going to pick a section, and then Game Time will pick the seats to get an average of 18% of savings. So, take the guesswork out of buying tickets with Game Time. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChiefsChat for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account and redeem code CHIEFS, CHAT, no spaces, Chiefs Chat for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. The third wide receiver target I think the Chiefs should look at is T.Y. Hilton. He's a little different from Golladay and Landry just because his career was, I'm going to say, a little bit longer, not too much, but overall, he was very consistent with the Indianapolis Colts, and once again, he had pretty solid hands. Now, I'm going to go back before his stint with the Cowboys, which we'll talk about in just a moment, but in 2021, 2020, and 2019, overall, his stats were solid. 5 touchdowns in 2020 and 2019. The yardage was there. The receptions were there in both those years. Obviously, if you look back to 2019, 10 games played, 500 yards, 5 touchdowns. It's not exactly the sample size you would get from him this year, but it is something to compare to. Now, you do have to look at his most recent stint with the Cowboys, where he didn't exactly do too much. Played only in a couple of games, only had like 7 receptions, and honestly didn't look like the T.Y. Hilton that we have seen in the past, which is kind of obvious at this point. I mean, you're getting up in age, and wide receivers are one that you're not exactly going to play till you're 40 years old. Now, with that being said, we've talked about it time and time again. Patrick Mahomes can make any wide receiver look good no matter their age, as long as you can catch the dang ball. That has been the problem this year. Okay, I've given you 3 wide receivers to look at thus far, and I want you to pick, of these 3, who you would like for Brett Veach and the Kansas City Chiefs to sign. If you would like it to be Jarvis Landry, then I want you to type JL in the comments. If you would like it to be Kenny Golladay, then I want you to type KG in the comments. And if you would like it to be T.Y. Hilton, then I want you to type TH in the comments of today's video. The fourth and final option is one that Chiefs fans should be very familiar with. Sammy Watkins. Now, why should you be familiar with Sammy Watkins? Well, most of you probably know, but he played with the Chiefs. He had spent some time with Kansas City. In fact, he was with the Chiefs team when they played in that, honestly, I'm going to say historic game with Tom Brady coming into Arrowhead Stadium and unfortunately beating the Chiefs back then. But his stats don't lie. With Kansas City, it was probably one of his better stints of his career thus far. 519 yards in 2018, 673 in 2019, and then dropped down to 421, obviously getting just 10 games played in that year. He is one guy like McCole Hardman that understands Patrick Mahomes and is a quarterback's wide receiver. What do I mean by that? Well, exactly that. He can go and be a viable option for a quarterback. He's going to like that option, and ultimately, there is some chemistry already there, which at this point, that may be the biggest thing because it just doesn't seem like these receivers are molding. Justin Watson was the best wide receiver, and then he dropped 3 passes this past week. Marquez Valdes-Scantling has been a problem all year, and honestly, there's not really been a consistent wide receiver one. Rashee Rice has been great, but he's also had some drop problems just like everybody else. All right, here's 4 options. There are some other guys out there, so I want you to name me a wide receiver you want the Chiefs to sign. Is it one of the 4 that I listed off? Is it somebody that maybe I didn't talk about? Well, get in the comments of today's video and let me know a wide receiver you would like for the Kansas City Chiefs to sign, because we all know it. It's been a problem all year. This wide receiver room probably will not get you another Super Bowl. What can Brett Veach do? Only time will tell. We appreciate you watching here on the Chiefs Report. I know it takes time out of your day to come and watch us, and if you made it to the end of the video, I really, really appreciate you. You're a real one, and as always, Chiefs Kingdom, peace out.